Hey guys, welcome back to Revolution XRC. Welcome to the next part of this TWS VTR Kit build series. In this part of the build series, we are going to go over the bumpers and the body. Now for this part of the series, you'll need the bumper set, these two brackets from bag M, the bag of parts for the body, the Lexan body itself, as well as the window masks and decals for the body. Now, I won't exactly go over painting the body or anything like that. Of course, you're going to have to trim your body as well, as you can see I've already done here. But I will sort of go over maybe a little bit of putting these plastic details onto the body, as well as mounting the body. But for right now, let's go and start off with the bumpers, because you'll need to have the bumpers on the chassis first before you kind of know the exact height of the body posts that you need. Alright, for putting on the bumpers, you're going to need the bumpers as well as these two brackets from bag M, and you'll need 8 of these M3x10 screws. Alright, we've got the bumpers mounted up to the brackets. Now we're ready to put these bumpers onto the chassis. Alright, so you can see here how these bumpers are mounted. These two screws right here on each side. With the bumpers mounted, we're ready to kind of test fit the body on top of the bumpers to see how much we need to cut our body posts. Now for the rear, you're going to want the long side facing inwards, so you want it in this direction. Alright, I've temporarily removed the front body post because the instructions don't say exactly how much you need to cut on each shed. That's probably because you're going to drill holes into the body and you can kind of cut afterwards, but I'm going to be using magnet mounts, so I need to have it really precise. But go ahead and do what you need to do and just kind of test fit the body on the chassis and figure out what you want to do. Now, as you can see here, I've already got the body painted up. I used Proline Slate Blue. It's one of Proline's airbrush paints. So, really like the color. I also have this on my SCX-10-3 Jeep, as well as my Vanquish VS410 Phoenix. But this is Proline Slate Blue. There's only one problem with the Proline colors, or the Proline airbrush paint. It does chip off pretty easily, and you can see all these touch-up marks I made inside of the place where it chipped off. So I'll have to figure out a way to kind of try to keep the paint from chipping off. I'm not sure how. I did back it with Tamiya PS5 Black, but it still chips off. But anyway, it's just, yeah, the Proline paint doesn't grip very well. But we'll see what we can do about that. Maybe I'll just tape over it or something just to kind of prevent it from getting scratched. Anyway, as you can see here, I've created some magnet mounts also on the chassis. You can see the magnet cups that I use here. These are the magnet mounts that I designed and created. I will think about either putting them up on my mini factory, or I may make them available on Armory RC for sale as a complete set with the magnets. I'm not sure yet, but I will have a link to those in the description below, no matter which way I do it. Other than that, you can see, besides painting it, I've already drilled some holes out. Now for the roof rack, you need 3mm holes. For the side mirrors, you need 4mm hole here. You need 3mm holes for the snorkel, and you need 3mm holes for the spare tire carrier. And you'll also need, I think this is a 2.5 or 2mm hole for the wiper, and you'll need 2 of those in the front, which is currently covered up by this decal. Now this body does use window decals, and for the most part it went pretty well. Just make sure you use ample amount of soap and water before putting them on, so you can slide them on correctly. I did mess up on one of them. I hope that those air bubbles eventually work itself out. If not, I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do. Maybe put like some kind of overland gear over it or something. But it does bug me that out of all the windows, I just had to mess up on one. Anyway, that's that. So first things first, let's attach the snorkel first. So I'll put this aside. For the snorkel, you'll need this piece here and these pieces here. All right. So let's take care of the snorkel. Alright, now we drilled. Okay, the battery on my camera ran out right before I attached the snorkel to the body. Basically, those 3 holes, that's where you attach the snorkel. See the pegs, and to secure it, you want to use these 3 washers to secure it. Now I wonder, I should actually do it this way. That way it doesn't have a sharp edge to kind of mess with the paint. Actually, I'm not sure it matters. The whole point is just to keep these pegs from, or the snorkel from falling off the body anyway. Yeah, I'll just add some glue to it and that should prevent it from coming off. I really do wish this Proline paint was as durable as Tamiya polycarbonate paint. In my opinion, I have not found anything as durable as Tamiya for Lexan bodies. Just Tamiya Lexan paint is just head and shoulders above any other paint I've used for Lexan bodies. Alright, that should keep the snorkel from coming off. Let's see, what next? Let's take a look at the snorkel first, and we'll move on to the side mirrors. So for the side mirrors, you'll need these following parts. You'll need the 2 side mirrors, the 2 decals for the mirror part, and the retainers. Let's go ahead and put the mirror lenses on these side mirrors. Might be worth putting some glue around the edges of this mirror. Actually, I should have put it on the back side, but it's okay. Alright, now if you made the 4mm holes that you're supposed to, you should be able to insert these right in. Which I'll try to do right now. Just like that. You can use one of these retainers. Really tough being careful with the paint because I don't want my nails to scratch this Proline paint. It is that fragile. Unfortunately. Alright. I'll just add some glue there so it doesn't come off. Can't really see from this angle. I'm guessing I do have glue on there. Yeah, it looks like I do. Always difficult to do some of the stuff with the camera in front of you because you just can't get the angle that you need to work on some of the stuff. But the mirrors are added to the body there. Starting to look really nice and scale. For the roof rack, you'll need, and the searchlights, you'll need the following pieces. You'll need 4 M 2.5 by 6s, 4 M 2.5 by 5s, 4 M 1.6 by 6s, and 4 M 2 by 8s. Now, I will be adding LEDs later, but not at this time. But LEDs will definitely be going in. Alright, these were the cap head screws to secure the housing for the searchlights. And this one right here is going to be the 2.5 by 5s. So the instructions say M2.5 by 6, but that's incorrect. It should be the M2.5 by 5s for these particular lights right here. And then you use the M2.5 by 6s everywhere else. But for these 4 lights, it's M2.5 by 5. Starting to look pretty cool. Alright. Now for this will be the M2 by 8. Alright. Now before I put this on, I'm just going to go over one thing. Especially since I'm using Proline paint. This here rack is secured directly with these M2.5 by 6 screws right here. So what that means is if I screw it into the body, there's a good chance it's going to scratch the paint. To get around it, you'll need to use a washer, and you still might scratch the paint that way in longer screws. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tape, and I'm going to tape over this area and then screw it in, just so there's no friction between the screws and the paint. So I'm going to get some tape off that area, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the windshield wipers attached. Basically, all I did was screw the M2 by 4 screws in right here and here, as well as here in the rear. But that's all there is to it. Looks really nice, and it looks like bubbles are forming on my windows, so I hope those all go away. Don't seem to be having luck with them today, but we'll see what happens. Alright, now I'm going to mount this to the body. Once again, I'm going to use this felt to kind of protect the paint from these M4 nuts, or these lock nuts, sorry. So I'll get this thing onto the body and we'll be right back. Alright, the rear tire carrier is mounted, and you can see the felt that I used with the lock nuts to protect the paint. And let's move on to some other rear details for the rear of this body. This little panel right here, and I believe there is a license plate piece, if I can find it. This guy. So this guy needs to be glued on. This guy uses double-sided tape. Alright, I've got some of the rear details added. These were both added with the provided double-sided tape. And we are ready to move on to some of these clear lenses, side markers for the front. Alright, you can see here I put some packing tape and then I used felt to try to protect the paint from the screws. I might have to do that with the tire carrier as well. But here it is. The roof rack is assembled and mounted onto the body, and things are starting to take shape. For the windshield wipers, you'll need the 3 wiper pieces and these 3 M2x4 screws. Okay, so I've got the windshield wipers attached. Basically, all I did was screw the M2x4 screws in right here and here, as well as here in the rear. But that's all there is to it. Looks really nice. And it looks like bubbles are forming on my windows, so I hope those all go away. Don't seem to be having luck with them today, but we'll see what happens. Alright, now I'm going to mount this to the body. Once again, I'm going to use this felt to kind of protect the paint from these M4 nuts, or these lock nuts, sorry. So I'll get this thing onto the body and we'll be right back. Alright, the rear tire carrier is mounted, and you can see the felt that I used with the lock nuts to protect the paint. And let's move on to some other rear details for the rear of this body. This little panel right here, and I believe there is a license plate piece, if I can find it. This guy. So this guy needs to be glued on. This guy uses double-sided tape. Alright, I've got some of the rear details added. These were both added with the provided double-sided tape. And we are ready to move on to some of these clear lenses, side markers for the front. Alright, we're back, and you can see that I've attached the clear part here. I painted the clear part with Tamiya X26, which is clear orange, and I used E6000 to glue it to the body right there. You see that, and there is the other side marker. I also went ahead and attached the spare tire to the spare tire mount. And I added my own license plate right here. And you can see how the body turned out. It looks pretty nice. And the nice thing is the air bubbles from the window decals also cleared up as well after a few days. So, all good there. And I'll show you this body mounted to the chassis. Alright, so here is my chassis. I don't have the electronics layout completely done yet because I do plan to put an interior in there, so I'm still kind of moving things around. And I'm also going to add inner fenders as well, so that will be coming up in a future video. You can see that I finally finished my magnet mounts, right here and there. We'll go ahead and drop the body on the chassis. There we go. Everything looks good. See right there. Perfect height with the bumper. Same with the rear. Let's zoom out a little bit. Give you guys a better look at my messy workplace. But yeah, there we go. Not completely done yet, but as far as stock kit build, pretty much there. Of course, there's still a bunch of other things I want to do. I want to scale this little rig out, put put an interior in there, and finally get my electronics layout kind of squared away. But yeah, I mean, you can see right here, it looks pretty cool so far. I do want to put those inner fenders on. I have those coming. Right here, these are the inner fenders for the TWS CTS chassis kit. They work for both the VTR and the VTG80, which is the new name for the CJ7. So it's for both. I'll go over it in a future video. But that pretty much completes this part of the build series, the bumpers and the body. And we will continue forward with future updates, other upgrades like adding an interior, adding more scale details to the body, the inner fenders. But this pretty much concludes the stock portion of the build, and I've enjoyed it a lot so far, and I can't wait to get to the next round of videos for this rig where I start customizing this out. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future updates on this TWS CTS VTR Kit build series. Thanks for watching.